OCS Presents, a guide to temporary roll-offs, pricing, and common pitfalls. Serving Eastern North Carolina since 1983, OCS has specialized in construction waste management. Whether you have a short-term project that requires a temporary roll-off or have a manufacturing plant with volumes that warrant a permanent roll-off box or compactor, OCS can help. OCS can help save time and labor on both small and large projects through focusing on customer service, technology, and innovative recycling techniques. This educational video will provide a brief background on roll-offs, specifically temporary roll-offs. We will focus not only on the equipment, but also provide information on pricing, time and sizing, waste disposal, and common pitfalls, or things to avoid when ordering service. For the most part, roll-off containers, also known as construction dumpsters, are utilized for short-term projects with high volumes or bulky materials. OCS does offer roll-off compactors for locations like plants and restaurants that want to increase security and decrease hauling costs. However, roll-off compactors are more permanent and addressed in another video. Back to this video, let's talk about pricing. At OCS, we charge for four things: disposal, a one-time delivery fee, rent, and hauling. The latter three, delivery, rent, and hauling, are all fixed, and the only cost variable is disposal. That's simply because each customer's disposal volumes vary, and we don't assume how much or little you have to dispose. We believe you should only have to pay for what you dispose, and therefore charge by the ton. By doing so, we are only passing off the cost we incur by disposing of your waste at the landfill and charge you nothing more. Other companies that advertise roll-off services will oftentimes flash convenient flat rates. However, what that convenient flat rate is obscuring is the convenient fact you will likely overpay for disposal. Typically, the fine print states you are purchasing a minimum of 4 tons to be disposed, and if you don't meet that quota, you have successfully paid for a service you haven't utilized. Essentially, flat rates allow for other companies to take advantage of your pocketbook by assuming you won't realize that you've paid for too much. That's why at OCS, we only charge for the exact tonnage you have, and we accurately do so by providing tonnage weight down to 2 decimal points. So if you wish, you can even check our math. Tonnage is the only cost variable when you order from OCS because, again, it depends on your disposal volume as well as differing landfill fees, which we can't control. Landfill fees are a whole separate topic, but in a nutshell, depending on a landfill's capacity and permit type, landfills have differing tonnage rates. Moving on, let's talk about time and sizing. Now that you understand you're only paying for what you dispose, you can see in regards to container size, there's no cost-related reason to fret. Whether it's a 40, 30, or 20 yard, all OCS containers rent for the same price. It's simply unnecessary otherwise because we are servicing your container regardless of size. There is a one-time delivery fee, which we mentioned earlier, but that is also fixed and naturally singular. Best of all, OCS charges only for the time you use your container. We prorate charges by the day, unlike other companies that will charge a 1 or 2 week minimum. Again, like with tonnage, we don't guesstimate the duration you'll need an OCS container. If you only need a container for a weekend cleanout, you only pay for that weekend cleanout, not some minimum time requirement pulled from the sky. Another minimum requirement companies impose that OCS does not is hauling frequency. Other companies like to require a minimum of 1 scheduled haul per month, and if your project doesn't need that, well, too bad, they charge you anyway. OCS doesn't do business this way. We believe you should only pay for what you use, and as a result have earned many long-term customers with relationships that have resulted in several repeat jobs. With OCS, you call us for a roll-off container and we guarantee delivery of a standard 30-yard roll-off within 24 hours as long as scheduled by noon. We understand timing is everything, and the last thing you need is a halted progress due to delivery delay. With OCS and our full inventory of containers, you'll get your container fast. By delivering a standard 30-yard container, money is ultimately saved because it allows OCS to move from job site to job site without having to make unwarranted trips back to our yards. We are more than happy to accommodate your preferred container size. It's just during all of our years providing roll-off service, 30 yards usually work best. The only time we specifically suggest a different size, a 20 yard, is when you have heavy waste like brick, concrete, or dirt. Just because they get heavy quickly, and if you aren't familiar with DOT weight requirements, we want to circumvent any unsafe containers traveling the roads, as well as any overweight DOT issued tickets. All containers are approximately 22 feet long and 7.5 feet wide. They just vary in height, from 3 feet on the 20 yards, 5 feet on the 30 yards, and 8 feet on the 40 yards. With disposal and sizing covered, the only thing left to talk about was which materials they can hold. Wood, pallets, plastic, cardboard, concrete, brick, asphalt, and municipal solid waste are all acceptable and most common. Any unique items your project may have, just call and run it by one of our waste experts. Wood and pallets, as well as plastic and cardboard, can't be mixed with other materials and must be disposed of in a separate container due to landfill laws. Which, speaking of, if you're involved in a government job or otherwise requiring a LEED certification, we offer special reporting, signage, and a staff of waste management experts who have extensive industry experience to professionally handle your needs. Because OCS owns a recycling facility and have partnerships with other recyclers throughout Eastern North Carolina, we can find a home for most any recyclable material on your site. From wood waste to metal, concrete, and sheetrock, we are uniquely equipped to handle your collection, hauling, and recycling needs. As far as what is prohibited, there is a full downloadable list at ocswaste.com. A few of the items include tires, batteries, asbestos, and other hazardous waste. Now for the final segment of our video, common pitfalls in ordering roll-off service and how to avoid them. If you're considering companies other than OCS for roll-off service, we employ you to check for the following pitfalls. 1. Flat rates that harbor minimum tonnage, duration, and hauling requirements. 2. Shell or virtual companies who subcontract the work, usually to OCS. They simply exist as the middleman. To avoid the first pitfall, ask specifically if the flat rate entails minimum tonnage, time, or hauling requirements. If the answer is vague or wishy-washy, the chances are the answer is yes. They do have minimum requirements, which as we have discussed are ill-fitted and a complete disregard and waste of your money. To avoid the second issue is to avoid a slew of complications regarding delivery time and servicing. Ask them if they personally own trucks and if they have an inventory of containers for you to come visit on site. Again, if the answer is vague or wishy-washy, the chances are the answer is no. They do not have a fleet of trucks or an inventory of containers. That's another reason using OCS is a good idea, because if ever there is an issue with your equipment or if you need to be hauled more or less frequently than you initially had expected, you can have peace of mind that when you call OCS, you are calling direct and will speak immediately with someone who can start fixing your dilemma. With OCS, you can know your dealings are straightforward and clear of the diluted service offered by virtual companies. In summary, the cost of an OCS roll-off container is comprised of 4 parts: disposal, delivery, rent, and hauling, of which the last 3 remain constant, while the only shifting cost will be disposal, as it's comprised of tonnage and landfill fees. We do not impose minimum requirements of any kind and have all the working parts of a real hauler: a fleet of trucks, a full inventory of containers, and an experienced professional staff to attend to your every need. So what do you need to get started? Call us at 888-44-WASTE, and our waste experts will talk with you about what you are disposing and where you're located. It's literally that easy. As a new customer, we will request a $350 deposit that will be applied to your first bill. It will cover the one-time delivery fee, up to 1 month's rent, hauling, and disposal of a few tons. If you don't use all of your deposit, you get refunded the full leftover amount after your final haul. So what are you waiting for? Get started and give OCS a call. You'll simply love the superior service you receive from Eastern North Carolina's waste experts. You can also visit us online at ocswaste.com for more videos and insider tips. OCS would like to sincerely thank you for your time. We know this was a lot. However, we feel these are things that you needed to know because information is power. Now you can feel confident when choosing a roll-off hauler.